In Project 3, we're going to take a look at some additional formats that Excel has to offer, and in this one we're mainly going to look at applying number formats to numbers that are in cells. And if you look in Project 3A, a lot of it, 1 through 8, 9, 9 items there, are all review of what we've done in previous projects. So that'll be kind of a review as we go through that. But beginning then in item 10 on page 84, we'll take a look at some of the number formatting changes. So we'll start out, again, this will be a lot of review, but they want us to change the column widths. And for column C, they want it at 17. So I'm going to go between C and D, increase that to 17. And column D, they want 10. And E, 7. F is 12. And then they want to insert a row above this, above row 1, actually above the title. And we're going to add an additional title at the top. So they're going to ask that we select row 1. And I'm going to show a shortcut here. I'm going to right click on row 1 and choose insert, and that will insert that row and how many ever rows that you want to insert. So that's another method of inserting rows. The row height for 1 needs to be 42. So between 1 and 2, I'm going to increase that to 42. And cells A1 through F1, we're going to make a few changes to. So before we type in any text, they want us to apply some formats to it. So A1 through F1, we're going to merge and center. So I'm going to go back to the Home tab in the Alignment group, and we're going to merge and center. So I'm just going to click on the button there. That makes it all one cell. We're also going to increase the font size of that to 24. We're going to apply a fill color, olive green, accent 3, lighter 80%. We'll then add a top and thick bottom border, which again in the font group, click on the drop down arrow, top and thick bottom border, and there we go. And then we're ready to type in text. So we'll type in real photography, and I'm going to press enter to get out of that. Now row 2, row height of that needs to be set at 24. It also needs to be merged and centered, so I'm going to select A1 through F2. Again, I'm going to click on the merge and center button. We're going to increase the font size of that to 18. The fill color this time we went with light green. And we're going to use the green that it has as its fill color. I'm just going to click on that. It's the same fill color that we used previously for real photography, so remember that as the default, so we can just click on the button for that. And then for row 2, we want a bottom border, so we'll go back to the font group, click on the drop down arrow, and we want just the bottom border. Alright, row 3, we're going to make some changes to that. The row height needs to be changed to 18. We're going to bold it, so I'm going to select the cells that we want to bold, use the bold button up on the ribbon. We also want to center each one of these within the cell that it's in. So I'm going to go to the alignment group and click on center. That centers each one of the headings in their cell. We're also going to apply a bottom border to that. So that one's already been selected. We'll click on it again, and it's applied to those cells. Now, the number formatting. We're going to select E4 through E16, and we're going to apply a percent to those, a percent style. And there's a variety of ways that you can do this, but one way that they want us to do it is Home tab, number group, and then we're just going to click on the percent style. Okay, I'm going to keep it still selected. They want to have a decimal within this, and so we're going to use the increase decimal button, which again is in the number group, and then increase decimal. I'm going to click that one time, and that will apply a single decimal. Okay, and then A4 through B16, they want us to apply these cells so that they represent text. So one way to do that, we'll go back to the number group, got the number format text box. I'm going to click on the drop down arrow, scroll down just a little bit. We're looking for text so that it appears as text. Notice on that too, since these are numbers, when we put them in there by default, let me undo that for just a second. I undid too far there. These numbers, you know what? I don't know why those are automatically set at the left unless I just, oh, they're aligned at the left, that's why. Okay, but typically when you enter in numbers, they're always right aligned. So if I enter in a number, by default it's right aligned. So they've left aligned the numbers in column A, but now this time they also want to apply the text style to those cells. And so I'm going to go back to the number, go to the number format text box and choose text. And those will be treated as text rather than numbers. Okay, and typically when you have a number in a cell, it'll, like I said, treat the number as text. The number will be displayed in the cell exactly as it's typed. So, and that's a little bit different if you, for example, type in, let's type in 21.29. It's looking at errors there because that's a number rather than text. So I'll go ahead and undo that. But you can see all the various number categories on page 85 in table 3.1, and that shows you the various ways that you can format your numbers within Excel. So you may want to take a moment to review those and use those accordingly. There's not a right way or right format, it's just how you're going to be using those in the cells. Now with this same worksheet, we're going to go ahead and put in some formulas here for the amount due. In cell F4, we're going to put in a formula that will take the amount times the tax and then add it back to the amount. And you know what, before I do that, that needs to be formatted. Let me go back. Let me go back here a minute. A4 through B16. That needs to be center aligned. Okay, we'll take care of that for just a minute. And then I guess we'll come back to this one in just a second. It's actually going to be formatted to accounting. So let's go ahead and do that real quick. D4 through D16, that particular column is going to be formatted to accounting. So, and there's a couple ways you can do this. On top of page 86, they actually have us using the Format Cells dialog box. And one way to get to that is if you go to the number group, you're going to have a dialog box launcher that will launch the dialog box. So, and you can see that in some of these other groups, there's an arrow pointing downward. That's a dialog box that will get you into their dialog box that applies these specific formats. So like if you go to the the font dialog box, it'll bring up Format Cells dialog box with the font tab selected. Okay, so we're going to launch the number dialog box, and within that there are the categories again that are explained on page 85. And in the category on the left, we're going to choose accounting, and they want us to keep the decimal places at 2, and the symbol is going to be the $sign. So we'll click OK to that, and you can see that it's applied those to those cells. They're going to actually have us do that to F4 through F16, and we'll come back to that once we get the formula inputted. But anyway, the amount due then is going to be the amount times the tax, and then we'll add back the amount to get what the amount due is. So we'll start out with an equal sign, take the amount times the tax, and then we're going to add back the amount. And really, the book has putting parentheses around D4 and E4, but honestly, if you're looking at the order of operations, it's going to do that anyway. It's going to do that first, and then it'll add the D4. So either way is fine. Go ahead and press enter to that. That's 488. Again, that's the 8.5% being added back to the amount. And then I'm just going to go ahead and auto fill down. And it looks like that's already been applied to accounting, so we're good there. They wanted us to apply the accounting format to cells F4 through F16, but that's already been done for us.